I have to say, in what started out to be a very wet, very muggy, uh, very misty night has quickly changed into something a little bit more manageable. Now, most of my equipment is drenched except for the places where I have dew bands. But I think we got a couple, 2-3 hours of questionable, maybe a little bit more questionable exposures. But I think we ended up strong on the Pac-Man Nebula and maybe some usable data. I was doing 5-minute exposures with the Skywatcher Star Adventure GTI, and spot on from what I could tell. Just great. And then using the old Star Adventure 2 with a more wide field Rokinon 135 to try to get a poor man's mosaic of the Orion molecular cloud complex. And of course, the Zenith Star 61 is what we focusing on with the Pac-Man, or the Pac-Man. And now that Pac-Man is set over the house, I've moved to a little higher in the sky to the Rosette Nebula, and same 5-minute exposures. And we'll see how it turns out. So far, the Skywatcher Star Adventure GTI has done a pretty good job. And hopefully I'll be able to get a good 2 hours, maybe a little bit more, of exposures in, hopefully clear exposures, to maybe get a good amount of data on Rosette, and finish the night out with 3 targets, fingers crossed. With the Rokinon, I focused beginning before I flipped, before the meridian flip. I kept Rigel in the top right corner of the screen, and now that I've flipped over, I've put Beetlejuice in the top right corner of the screen. Like I said, just get a poor man's mosaic. It's not going to be perfect, but I think it may work out okay because I lost so much time and data because of all the mist, fog, whatever, that I think my exposure time may end up getting pretty close to each other where it may end up looking okay. But of course, I won't know that until I start processing, and I guess we'll see. But what started off as a very questionable night, I was very disappointed. The forecast basically called for, as soon as the sun went down, the skies were supposed to be clear, and they were kind of. But here in the South, any winter is questionable at best. But we got a good bit of warmth today, and the air soaked up a lot of moisture, and then it's cooled back off pretty good tonight, and it squeezed all that moisture back out. And that's whether it's fog, cloud cover, there's dew everywhere, just dripping dew like it had rained almost. So I won't know until we get to the end, so I may get to start doing stacking and processing and have no images, or I'll have 3 good images, or of course somewhere in between. But that's what we're hoping for, and we'll see. So I'm out here doing my last check before I go to bed, and looks like the forecast was right for once because it's about to rain. So I was going to try to get in another night of imaging, but I went ahead, knowing it was going to rain, I went ahead and processed what I could get. Last night of about 4.5 hours, I tried to image the Rosette Nebula. I got about a little over 2 hours worth of usable footage or usable data, just because the clouds were just terrible. And Pac-Man was just didn't get enough data, and the clouds messed with the Rokinon shot I was trying to get, the wide shot too. Just too many clouds, too much going on. So I only got one usable shot, and it's going to have to be what I thought it was going to be, which was multiple nights. So out of what I got all night fighting the clouds last night, I got one semi-usable shot of about 2 hours. It's about 150 minutes of Rosette Nebula, and these are 5-minute exposures, and 30 5-minute, yeah, right, 30 5-minute exposures is what I could get out of all that I took. So that's what we're going with. I've had this weird astigmatism pop up on this lens. This is the Zenithstar 61, and I didn't notice this before. I haven't had this issue before. Before, when I first got it, I was just using it without a field flattener, and I bought the field flattener, and I used it for a good 2 weeks before doing some rearranging, and I never noticed this astigmatism, but now I seem to have one, and so I'm not sure what's causing that. So that's something I've got to work on. Luckily, it doesn't affect the image as long as you keep it kind of center frame for the most part. But you'll still be able to see some weirdly shaped stars in here anyway. It's another issue that I've got to work out. So this is 2 hours and 30 minutes of Rosette Nebula. And of course, I've got many, many more hours I want to do with this before I'm done with it. But I think, all things considered, battling the clouds all night, just one thing after another, I'm happy I got something. And I don't think I've done anything with the closer shot of the California Nebula that I took after my last longer video was the California Nebula with the Rokinon 135. And I did the same thing with the Zenithstar, trying to get a closer shot, and I got the closer shot, but this is where I first noticed the astigmatism on the lens, at least what I think is an astigmatism on the lens. So you'll see it in both of these, and I'm not really sure what it is, but something in my image train is causing this, and I didn't have it before that I noticed. And the only thing that I've changed outside of changing the spacing and everything else as I've gone between different cameras is when the moon was towards its full, I was using the dual narrowband pass filter, which I'm not using now. I'm just using just a bottom end higher cut filter. So I guess we'll see. But either way, I enjoyed it. I had tons of fun, even through all the struggles and the frustration and the not thinking you're going to have something work out. It's still so much fun stacking images, and in the end getting something out of all the data that you took that you've never seen with your naked eye, but yet it's still there. And the mount tracked perfectly. You'll notice There's no really star trailing issues. No star trailing issues caused by the mount. In this picture, I didn't have a single frame out of all the cloud and everything else issues, even when the mount would lose tracking. When the ASI air would lose tracking because of the clouds, the mount just kept on puttering along at the exact rate it needed to. I mean, it's been so far it's been a fantastic mount with no complaints. The cheaper plastic parts notwithstanding. But either way, we'll add to the list of one more thing to overcome, one more lesson to learn, and on this journey of me being a budding astrophotographer. And we'll keep on keeping on. Until next time.